Dr. R. Sugaraj Samuel. He is working as a professor in physics at New College, Chennai. He is also training students for IIT JEE, AIEEE and BIT SAT. He has more than 16 years experience in both teaching and research. He has published a book titled The Complete Handbook of Bachelor of Electronic Science Practicals, which is prescribed for the syllabus for BSc Electronic Science by University of Madras. He has presented papers in several national and international conferences and has also conducted many training programs and workshops to motivate energetic students. His research areas are ultrasonic, polymers, crystal growth and photovoltaic systems. He is experienced in both regular classroom teaching and online teaching as well.
Welcome to UGC lecture series in BSc Honours in Physics. We have been discussing about the subject electricity and magnetism. In today's lecture, we are going to learn the concepts related to self-induction and mutual induction. In this session, we are going to see the concepts related to self-induction, mutual induction, energy stored in an inductor or in a magnetic field, and finally the coupling constant. What is self-induction? There is a prerequisite required for this. We should know the electromagnetic induction, Faraday's law and Lenz's law. When we have that as the base, learning about the self-induction and mutual induction will be very easy for us. So, let us see what is self-induction. This is the basic definition for self-induction. The property of a coil which enables to produce an opposing induced EMF in it when the current in the coil changes is called self-induction. What does the electromagnetic induction say? When there is a variation in the magnetic flux with respect to time, then an induced EMF is produced in the neighboring coil. When we have a coil in the form of a solenoid, solenoid is an extended coil. A coil will have winding at the same point, number of turns. But in the case of solenoid, the winding is done over a particular length. So, each turn is separated. So, one coil can affect the other coil, and even in the regular coil where the windings are done in the same place, this kind of induction is possible. When current is developing in one coil, the other coil would have an induced EMF in it. That induction will oppose the development of current in the other coil. So, that is what is depicted in this diagram. Have a look at this diagram. When we have a steady current flowing in a coil, we have a base here and a coil is wound on a base, and that would produce a magnetic field like this. So, magnetic field produced in a coil is depicted here. The current enters through this end and leaves through this end. This is at a steady state. But what will happen when the current is increasing? When the current is increasing here, which cannot be shown that easily in the diagram, but in words it is shown. When the current is increasing, there is a rate of change of flux happening in this part of the coil, because it is increasing current with respect to time, it is increasing. So, that flux will affect or produce an EMF in the other coil, and it is happening successively. And in the light of Lenz's law, if you see, there is an opposition. When the current is increasing here, there is a kind of EMF developed across these two ends due to the electromagnetic induction. So, that produces current in the opposite direction. Are you able to understand? There is a positive sign here, negative sign here. So, the induced current is in the opposite direction when current increases. What will happen because of that? The increasing nature is opposed by the induced current. It is developed in such a way to oppose the increasing flux. What causes the increasing flux? Current. So, the current itself is opposed. On the other hand, look at this. When the current is decreasing, still the direction is the same, but the current is decreasing now. The value of current is reduced with respect to time. Now, what happens? The reduction in current with respect to time has to be opposed by the induced EMF produced in the other coils. So, the EMF is in the opposite, that enhances the current. So, it allows the current to flow further because the current is decreasing. This EMF direction is appearing in such a way that would enhance the current that is flowing in the coil. But remember one thing, in the case of induction we had two separate coils, right. Any variation in one coil will produce EMF or electromagnetic induction in the other coil, but here it is the same coil. As far as the solenoidal coil is concerned, it is happening in the same coil among different turns. Collectively there is a kind of opposition. This opposing nature is called self induction. Because it is happening in the same coil, we emphasize it with the word self. That is why it is called self induction. What does that mean? Further, the direction of the induced EMF is such that it would cause an induced current in the loop, which would establish a magnetic field that would oppose the change in the source magnetic field. Thus, the direction of the induced EMF is opposite to the direction of the source EMF. This results in a gradual rather than instantaneous increase in the source current to its final equilibrium value. There is a time delay. The current will either slowly grow when it is increasing, instantaneously it will not grow, or if it is decreasing, in that case also the decrease also will happen slowly, it will not happen instantaneously when we use these coils in circuits. That has got lots of advantages too. This is normally noticed in any sort of circuit which has got a closed path. A circuit will always be a closed path, then only it is a circuit. So, even in a regular circuit itself, this kind of self induction is possible. Look at this. This effect is called self induction because the changing flux through the circuit and the resultant induced EMF arise from the same circuit itself. The EMF setup in this case is called self induced EMF or often called as back EMF. These kinds of induced EMFs are observed in any kind of closed electrical circuits when the switches are open or closed. I have shown a typical circuit here. This is due to the electromagnetic induction, right. Do not give importance to this EMF source in the beginning. This is a regular source of EMF. So, this causes current in this direction. This is a closed circuit. So, when the switch is closed, the current is flowing through the closed path. When the current is flowing through the closed path, what will happen? The magnetic field is set around the coil using right hand thumb rule. If you observe, there is a magnetic field set up. When we have a current carrying conductor, magnetic field is like this. That is to be applied for every section of the circuit that I have shown. In that case, what will happen? That increase in magnetic field, thus the flux is changing, that has to be opposed by the induced EMF. So, here see, there is a induced EMF due to the Lenz's law explanation. So, that will oppose. In what direction? This causes current, this causes current in the opposite direction. So, the current will not immediately come to 0 when the circuit is broken. The same way, the current will not immediately go to high value when the circuit is closed. So, this is found in any circuit, typical circuit, that is always present in the closed circuits when the switches are operated. We will learn more about the self induction. We have a term called coefficient of self inductance. Now, there is a change in terminology you would have noticed. We say self induction, that is a process, but when we say inductance, it is a quantity. So, we have to define what is the quantity called self inductance. You can have a similarity with the capacitance and capacitor. Capacitor is a device, capacitance is the quantity, right. Capacity is again a kind of factor it is. Here also we have induction is the process, inductance is a quantity, inductor is a device, the coil itself is an inductor. When a current I flows through a coil, the magnetic flux phi linked with the coil is proportional to the current itself. Normally we equate the flux with the magnetic field, the area and the orientation. Phi is equal to B A cos theta. But what produces this magnetic field? It is the current. So, leaving these factors, we can directly take phi is due to the current that is flowing in the coil. So, it is taken as a proportionality. We introduce L as the proportionality constant. This is in the differential form. When there is a change in current, there is a change in magnetic flux. So, where L is a constant of proportionality and is called coefficient of self inductance of the coil. In this equation, when we take the current I as 1 ampere and phi becomes L multiplied with 1. So, numerically L is equal to phi itself when the current is 1 ampere. So, this gives us a clue for defining the self inductance itself. This is how it is defined. Therefore, the coefficient of self inductance of a coil is numerically equal to the magnetic flux linked with the coil when unit current flows through it. And also we have one more form of explanation. According to laws of electromagnetic induction, I hope you could identify this as the combination of Faraday's law and Lenz's law. We can write instead of phi as Li. L is self inductance and I is the current. Self inductance is a constant, so take it out, it is di by dt. So, variation in current also produces the induced EMF and the proportionality constant that we use here is L. So, if this di by dt, the rate of change of current, if that becomes 1, then the EMF itself is equal to the self inductance. Hence, the coefficient of self induction of a coil is numerically equal to the opposing EMF induced in the coil when the rate of change of current through the coil is unity. So, these are the two different definitions that we could give for the self inductance. One is in the equivalent term with phi, the other one is equivalent term with the induced EMF. So, these are the two definitions that we could have. In what unit it is measured? Shall we have a look at the unit in which the self inductance is measured? The unit of self inductance is Henry. It is in honor of the American scientist Joseph Henry, who performed the electromagnetic induction experiments on the same time Faraday has performed in UK, United Kingdom. 1 Henry is defined as the self inductance of a coil in which a change in current of 1 ampere per second produces an opposing EMF of 1 volt. So, 1 Henry is also defined with the definitions that we have already given for the self inductance. it is measured in the unit Henry, but practically millihenry is also a unit used, microhenry is also used, but practical value of some coils which you use in laboratory will have millihenry units. Now, what other factors we have? The self inductance of a solenoid, we can try to establish a relationship for the inductance. Only we have written inductance as L so far. On what factors does it depend? That we will see here. Let us consider a solenoid of n turns with length L and area of cross section A. It carries a current I. If B is the magnetic field at any point inside the solenoid, then the magnetic field B inside the solenoidal coil and flux linked with each turn are written like this. These are familiar terms for us. The magnetic field produced by a solenoid is mu naught Ni divided by L. Normally we write the magnetic field expression for solenoid as mu naught small n I, right. The small n is number of turns per unit length. So, that is typically used here, capital N divided by L. So, it is the expanded form, because we need to use the number of turns, we need to use a geometrical term L. So, we have written them in this equation. And what is flux? It is B multiplied with the area. The orientation is not considered here because it is 0 degree. So, cos 0 is 1, that we have not taken, and we have the equation for flux in this form. Flux linked with all n turns of the coil. This is for only one turn. When for n turns considered, we need to multiply this equation with one more n. So, it becomes n square. We already know that from the definition of the self inductance, phi is equal to Li. So, we can equate the equations for the flux, this form and written here. Here in on both the sides the current I appear. So, we can cancel it. It is further done here. So, we rewrite it for L, the self inductance. It is mu naught n square A divided by L. Hence, the coefficient of self inductance depends only on the permeability and the geometry of the coil. When we say permeability of the core on which the coil is wound, or the permeability of the medium in which the coil is kept. If the core is filled with magnetic material of permeability mu, not free space, mu is for medium, then we have to replace this mu naught with mu. So, this is the equation we need to use, and this mu can be written as mu or mu naught. These are the known terms. So, in a most general way we have written it. And look at this equation for the self inductance L. On what does it depend? Have a look at this equation. We have defined the self inductance not in terms of geometry and permeability. Actually, phi is equal to Li. So, what is L self inductance? Self inductance L is phi divided by I. These are the magnetic and electrical quantities. So, for definition we have used the electrical quantities, but when we try to get an expression for the self inductance, we have an expression without the electrical quantities. See, it is the number of turns, geometry, area and length and the permeability. Only on these factors it depends. The self inductance depends only on the geometry and permeability. This is a important finding that we have to keep in mind. This has got a similarity with capacitor. We define capacitor, the capacitance, as the ratio of charge to potential, right. But when we finally get the expression for capacitor, what do we get? It depends on the geometry and permittivity of the medium, right. The same way here also the self inductance depends on the permeability and geometry. Of course, the number of turns is also a factor considered as the geometry. This inductor is working on the principle of electromagnetic induction. It is used in circuit for various purposes, right. This can store energy. How a capacitor could store electrostatic energy, the same way this inductor can also store electromagnetic energy. Let us see the expression for energy stored in a inductor. Whenever current flows through a coil, the self inductance opposes the growth of the current. Hence, some work has to be done by external agencies in establishing the current. If E is the induced EMF, then we can write this statement, this law. The small amount of work dW done in a time interval of dt is given by this equation. These are also the known equations only. E is the voltage potential difference, I is current, dt. To find out the small work done, we incorporate this equation for EMF into this, and finally this becomes the equation further simplified form. When we continue with the further simplifications, the total work done when the current increases from 0 to maximum value I naught is given by this. So, we integrate from 0 to I naught, it is L I di, L is the constant taken outside. When we do the integration, this is the final expression we have. Of course, there is a negative sign. This sign is negative sign is consequence of Lenz's law. Hence, quantitatively the energy stored in an inductor is given by this expression. It is of L I square. I is the maximum current or the saturation current, or we can call it as equilibrium current, whatever terminology we use, we can use. This is the energy stored in the magnetic field produced in the coil, but magnetic field is not there in the expression. We can bring in by using these mathematical expressions which are familiar to us. This is the equation just we have derived. We can further bring the magnetic field into the equation. How do we bring it? We open the value of L, substitute for L, we identify this as the magnetic field. So, we multiply and divide with the respective terms mu naught L, and bring in the terms into the bracket, and this is identified as the magnetic field. So, this is the expression for energy stored in the magnetic field. This AL is the volume. So, we bring it to the denominator. Now, this becomes the energy density, the energy stored per unit volume in a magnetic field. So, energy is stored in a inductor is actually the energy stored in the magnetic field, because in the inductor there is magnetic field, energy could be stored. We will move ahead with one more concept quickly, which is called mutual inductance. Whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with a coil, there is also a change of flux linked with the neighboring coil, producing an induced EMF in the second coil. In the case of self inductance, the EMF is developed in the same coil at different parts, different turns, thus there is a collective effect. But in the case of mutual, two separate coils are kept, they are neighboring coils, one coil like this, another coil. So, this induction is produced because of the variation happening in this coil. They are not physically in contact, it is not the single coil, two separate coils, and that is shown as the diagram here, the cross section. This is one coil, coil number 1, coil number 2, in which the induction is happening because the flux is varying. This phenomenon of producing an induced EMF in a coil due to the change in current in the other coil is known as mutual induction. We can find out the coefficient of mutual inductance also using the regular expressions. When current IP flows through the primary coil and the flux in the secondary coil, which is denoted as phi s, which is proportional. The line of derivation is in the same way as we have done for the self inductance. Only thing is, we have to be very careful in putting the secondary coil and the primary coil. This is for another coil current, this is for another coil flux. So, the M here we use is called the mutual inductance between the two coils, and M also has the same definition as that of the self inductance, but only thing is the wording has to be properly made. The current through one coil and the electric flux is in the other coil. So, like that we have to use the terminologies. The unit that we have for mutual inductance is also the same as that of self inductance. It is also measured in Henry. We can derive an expression for the mutual inductance of the two coils. That also will result in one form. Let us see what it is. Therefore, the coefficient of mutual inductance between two coils arrangement is numerically equal to the magnetic flux linked with one coil when unit current flows through the other coil. The unit of mutual inductance is also Henry. We can show that the mutual inductance between two coils is given by this expression. You can always compare it with the equation for self inductance. Self inductance equation is mu naught, it is a single coil. So, that N square A divided by L. But in this case the two coil turns are appearing, that is the only difference. What about the area? In the case of single coil it is one area and length also is one value, but when two coils are kept, what area we have to take and what length? There is a easy way. The area is the overlapping area and the length is the overlapping length. I would like to quickly show it by one diagram here. Suppose this is one coil, the core only I am drawing. This is the secondary coil kept over it, on which coil the primary coil is inside, the secondary coil is outside. There are two areas. If you have a cross sectional view of it, what will be there? This is the inner coil, this is the outer coil. So, what is this area? This overlapping area we have to take. The same way length, what length you have to take? This is the overlapping length. So, what is common for both? That only has to be used. And here also we have to be little careful. The current can flow through the inner coil first, produce a EMF in the outer, or current can flow through the outer and produce an EMF in the inner. Whatever be the case, the overlapping area and overlapping length if you take, there will not be any confusion. So, this is the final expression for the mutual inductance for two coils. This is also measured in Henry. Now, there is a relation between the self inductance and the mutual inductance, because the two different coils will have their own self inductance. Suppose there are two coils, they will have their own self inductance and a mutual inductance. There is a relation relating them, that also we will see. The coefficient of mutual inductance between a pair of coils depends on the following factors: the size and shape of the coils, number of turns and permeability of the material on which the two coils are wound. And also another factor, the proximity of the coils, the orientation. See here, the primary and secondary coils are kept in perpendicular direction. So, what about the flux linking? It will be less, but here it is in the same direction but separated, one is near the other. What about this case? It is one wound over the other. We may have one primary coil winding and have an insulation and then the secondary. So, here there is a perfect coupling happening. So, the mutual inductance depends on the orientation also. The relation between the self inductance and mutual inductance is given here. We can easily show with the available relations that the self inductance of the individual coils and the mutual inductance are related by this relation. M is equal to K times square root of L1 L2. L1 L2 are self inductance values, M is the mutual inductance. The K is called coupling constant. The value of K varies between 0 and 1. If we say K is equal to 1, the K will become 1. there is perfect coupling between the coils. If K becomes 0, there is no coupling between them. The practical value of K will be between 0 and 1. There will not be the extreme values, though in the theoretical model we have it, but otherwise it is a value slightly less than 1. Right. Hope you have understood the concepts covered in today's lecture. Before we wind up this lecture, let us see the summary of today's lecture. In this session, we have seen the concepts of self-induction, mutual induction, energy stored in an inductor or magnetic field, and also coupling constant. Before we wind up this session, let us test our understanding by answering these questions. Define self-inductance and mention its units. Get the expression for self-inductance of the coil. Explain how energy is stored in a coil and get its expression. Define mutual inductance and mention on what factors it depends. What is coupling constant? With this, I would like to wind up today's lecture. Thank you for watching this program.